Beloved, life is not measured merely by the number of days we live, but by the encounters that shape and transform us. There are moments in a man's journey where heaven kisses the earth, when time gives way to eternity, and when the voice of the Almighty intersects with the frailty of humanity. Um, this is what we call a divine encounter, a supernatural meeting between God and man that redefines destiny. But I want you to understand this. Every divine encounter speaks a language. God does not waste his presence. Each encounter communicates a message, a direction, an instruction, or a transformation. The question is, are we discerning enough to hear, understand, and respond to the language of divine encounters? And 1. The language of calling. When Moses encountered God at the burning bush, Exodus 3-2:10, it was not just fire. He saw it was a call he heard. God said, "Moses, Moses." And Moses replied, "Here I am." That encounter was the language of destiny, calling him from shepherding sheep to shepherding a nation. Every true encounter with God carries a call to higher responsibility, a call to deeper intimacy, a call to step out of the ordinary. Divine encounters are not entertainment, they are recruitment into kingdom assignments. And 2, the language of instruction. Divine encounters also come with clear instructions. When Saul met the risen Christ on the road to Damascus, Acts 9-3:6, he fell to the ground blinded. He did not just see a light, he heard a command, "Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do." Instructions are the keys that unlock the blessings of encounters. Many desire encounters, but few are willing to obey what God says in the encounter. A divine encounter without obedience becomes a wasted experience. And 3, the language of covenant. Abraham's encounter in Genesis 15 was not just about stars in the sky, it was God speaking the language of covenant. Look now toward heaven and tell the stars, so shall thy seed be. That encounter sealed Abraham as the father of nations. Every divine encounter establishes a covenant, whether it is personal, generational, or territorial. Encounters are God's way of signing eternal contracts with men who are willing to walk with him. And 4, the language of transformation. Jacob wrestled with the angel all night. Genesis 32-24:30. That encounter was not a casual wrestling match. It was the language of transformation. From Jacob the supplanter, he became Israel, the prince that has power with God and with men. Encounters shift identities. They rewrite stories. They mark the turning point where a man ceases to be who he was and becomes who God destined him to be. And 5, the language of revelation. Isaiah entered the temple and saw the Lord high and lifted up. Isaiah 6-1:8. That encounter gave him a revelation of God's holiness and his own inadequacy. He cried, "Woe is me, for I am undone." Yet in that revelation, he also received cleansing and commissioning. Divine encounters open the eyes of our spirits. They reveal dimensions of God we never knew and expose dimensions of ourselves we must surrender. And human dimension of encounters. My friends, encounters are not reserved for prophets alone. They are for every man and woman hungry enough to seek God. The language of divine encounters speaks today through prayer, the word, visions, dreams, and even the still small voice within. But here is the truth. Encounters are not always spectacular. Sometimes they are subtle. Elijah expected God in the wind, earthquake, and fire, but he came in a gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:11-12. This means we must train our spirit to recognize God beyond the dramatic. Encounters also demand response. God may call, but you must answer. God may instruct, but you must obey. God may reveal, but you must align. A divine encounter is a door, but your response is the key that opens it fully. And why divine encounters matter? Because they redirect destiny, Saul to Paul. Because they empower for assignment, Moses at the bush. Because they establish covenant, Abraham under the stars. Because they release transformation, Jacob to Israel. Because they impart revelation, Isaiah in the temple. And final charge. Beloved, heaven is still speaking. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has not retired. The same God who appeared to Moses, who arrested Saul, who visited Isaiah, is still encountering men today. The language of divine encounters is still alive. It speaks of calling, instruction, covenant, transformation, and revelation. But will you listen? Will you respond? Will you yield? Because your next level, your destiny, your legacy may depend on the language you discern in your next encounter with God. I pray that from today, you will not just seek encounters, but you will understand their language, respond with obedience, and step into the fullness of your divine destiny. Amen.